Good afternoon, dear students. My name is Sartaj Ahmad Mir and I am from JNV Surancourt, Punuch. So, dear students, today's our topic is that is climate of India. This is chapter number 4 of class 9th geography. So, my dear students, without wasting too much time, I am going to start this chapter. So, my dear students, first of all, look at this slide. This is our planet Earth, and on this planet Earth, there are some areas where the conditions are very hot, where the climatic conditions are very hot. There are some areas on this planet Earth where the conditions are very cold. There are some areas on this planet Earth where there is heavy rainfall, and there are some areas on this planet Earth where there is scarcity of rainfall, that is low rainfall. My dear students, have you ever thought of these variations? Okay, let me explain these variations in detail in later part of the chapter. First of all, I am going to talk here about the difference between that is weather and climate. What is weather and what is climate? Now, what is weather? Weather is the state of atmosphere of an area at any point of time. This is the definition of weather. Weather means change in the average conditions of the atmosphere over a short period of time. That is called weather. Weather does not remain static. It always changes. Weather changes from day to day and it changes hour to hour. And it is unpredictable. We cannot predict the weather conditions of an area. It is unpredictable and it is uncertain. Let me explain the concept of weather through this example. A boy is standing here and the boy receives sunshine. There is also sun that is shine very brightly, and he just receives heat. By receiving the heat, the boy's body is sweating. Now tell me, whether we call it weather is hot or we call it climate is hot. We were discussing about weather, so generally we call it weather is hot. Now, another example, the boy is standing in the same place just with an umbrella, and he, instead of sunshine, he just in this time receives rain. Whether we call it weather is rainy or we call it climate is rainy, so of course we call it weather is rainy because the boy is standing in the same place with an umbrella. Umbrella is the sign of rain season, so we call it weather is rainy. So you expected two changes in two slides, so we call it weather. We call it weather. Weather, the conditions of the atmosphere over a short period of time. Okay, that is called weather. Now, so weather is the state of atmosphere of an area at any point of time. Okay, let me explain it in with another example. Look at the slide. In slide, the image first depicts sun with plenty of sunshine. Then in another image you find sun with little bit of white clouds. Then in third image you will see mostly cloudy with little bit of sunshine. And in fourth slide we will find white clouds, and the white clouds are followed by dark clouds. Then dark clouds are followed by dark clouds with little bit of water droplets, and last it is followed by dark clouds with heavy rainfall. So you expect these changes. When these changes happen in a place of an area, we call it weather. We call it weather. So weather is condition of atmosphere at a particular time. Okay, I hope you got this concept, that is weather. Now let me explain about climate of an India. What is climate? So climate is the average weather condition of a particular region over a long period of time. When there is change in the atmospheric conditions for a long period of time, it may be about 30 years or it may be more than 40 years. Climate is expected. We can expect a climate. And climate is predictable. We can predict the climate of an area, we can predict the climate of a region. Climate remains static. It does not change too much. It does not change day to day and it does not change hour to hour. Okay, so what is climate? Climate is the conditions of the weather over a particular region over a long period of time, that is called a climate. Okay, now let me explain this climate with an example. This is the map of India. On the western side of state, the western state of India, that is Rajasthan, the Thar desert. In Thar desert, conditions are very harsh. There are hot climatic conditions. There is scarcity of rainfall, there is scarcity of water. Now, can we call these conditions as the weather of Rajasthan, or we can call it as a climate of Rajasthan? Of course, we can call it as a climate of Rajasthan, because in Rajasthan, this is not a new thing in Rajasthan, it is from the ages. These conditions are found in Rajasthan from the last more than 40 years. That is why we can call it as a climate of Rajasthan. We can't call it as a weather of Rajasthan. Okay. So we can call it the climate of Rajasthan because why? Because the climatic conditions here are very hot from long period of time, usually from more than 40 years. Okay, this is climate. So what is the difference between weather and climate now? Weather is the variation in the atmosphere over a short period of time, and climate is the average conditions in the weather over a long period of time. Weather is unexpected and unpredictable. Climate is expected and climate is predictable. Weather changes day to day and hour to hour. Climate does not change from day to day and hour to hour. It remains static. Okay. Now the climate of India. India's climate is monsoonal type. Our India's climate is monsoon type of climate. The climate of India is monsoon. And what is monsoon? Monsoon is actually derived from Arabic word mosam, which means season, which means seasonal reversal of the winds during the course of the year. Monsoon arrives in India in the month of June, and they were withdrawn from India in the month of October. Their duration in India is about 120 days, that is 4 months, and through these monsoons they bring plenty of rainfall in India, and that rainfall is beneficial for kharif crops. Not only India has a monsoonal type of climate, but Southeast Asia also has the same type of climate, that is monsoonal type of climate. Okay, tell me here one thing, why we call it as monsoon type of climate? Why we can't call it as a monsoon type of weather? Can you tell me about this? Okay. We call it monsoon type of climate. That is why monsoons occur every year. They occur every year. And they make different seasons in India. That is rainy season, hot season, cold season, summer season by these monsoons. And they occur every year. That is why they bring plenty of rainfall in here. That is why we call it monsoonal type of climate. We did not call it as a monsoon type of weather because they are expected that they will came in the month of June and withdraw from India in the month of October every year. That is why we call it monsoonal type of climate. So our India's climate is monsoon type of climate. Through these monsoons, they make different seasons in India, such as summer season, rainy season, winter season. Okay. So monsoon climate is also observed in Southeast Asia. India is not only the country which has a monsoonal type of climate, but Southeast Asia also has the same type of climate, that is the monsoonal type of climate. Okay. Okay. There are different seasons in India by the arrival of these monsoons, but there is variation in the seasons. So far as the India is concerned, there is variation in temperature, there is variation in precipitation, there is variation in temperature in summer season, there is variation in temperature in winter season, there is variation in temperature in variation in rainfall in summer season, as well as variation in rainfall in winter season. Let me first of all explain the variation of temperature in summer season. If you look at the map, Jammu and Kashmir has a temperature of about 22 degrees Celsius in summer season. On the other hand, the western state of India, that is Rajasthan has a temperature of about 50 degrees Celsius during the same period, during the same season. So there is variation of 30 degree Celsius in temperature so far as the India is concerned. This is the variation in temperature in summer season. Now, variation of temperature in winter season. Jammu and Kashmir, especially Ladakh, Dras in Ladakh has a temperature of minus 45 degrees Celsius during winter season. On the same season, Thiruvananthapuram in Kerala, the southernmost state of India, has a temperature of 22 degrees Celsius. So it means there is great variation in temperature in winter as well as in summer season. Okay, this is about the variation in temperature. Now let me explain the variation in rainfall also, precipitation. There are some states in India which receive high rainfall, high snowfall during winter season, especially our Jammu and Kashmir state, especially our north state now, UT. Ladakh also receives high snowfall. Himachal Pradesh receives high snowfall during the month of winter. There are some states in India, again westernmost state of India, Rajasthan, as I have already mentioned it in detail. There is scarcity of rainfall. There is scarcity of water because the climatic conditions are very hot, evaporation is high there. So this area has a very low rainfall during winter season. On the other hand, the northeast states of India has a high rainfall. In fact, the northeast states of India, Cherrapunji in Meghalaya, or we can say Maisin has world's highest rainfall, 1080 millimeters annually. There are some coasts, especially west coast, receives high rainfall. So we find that there are variations in rainfall as well as variation in temperature in different states of India. Okay, but why there is variation? Okay, let me explain first of all coastal states. What is the variation in temperature so far as the coastal areas are concerned? First of all, what are coastal areas? Coastal areas are those areas which are situated near the coast, which are situated near the sea. They are called coastal areas. In India, there are two coastal plains. One is eastern coastal plain and another is western coastal plain. In these two plains, the temperature here is moderate. Why the temperature here is moderate? Because there is less variation in temperature in coast, because due to the influence of the sea, due to the exposure of the sea, that is why this area has a moderate type of climate, coastal areas, that is the eastern coastal plains and western coastal plains. Okay. Now, due to this variation in temperature and precipitation, they affect our life. They affect our lifestyle, this variation in temperature and precipitation. So, due to this variation, we have to design houses according to the climatic conditions. We have to adjust in the society according to climatic conditions. Okay, let me explain it with an example. In Rajasthan people construct underground houses. Why they construct underground houses? In order to protect themselves from heat. Therefore, their main shelter is that is underground house. On the other hand, the people of Jammu and Kashmir construct a well maintained house with a well concreted roof. This roof is constructed in order to prevent their houses from heavy snowfall, in order to preserve their houses from excess snowfall. So, this variation in temperature and precipitation not only affects our climate, but it greatly impacts in our social life. It affects our houses as well as our lifestyle. In summer season, people mostly wear cotton clothes because of lot of heat, while as in winter season people prefer woolen clothes, again in order to protect from coldness. So this variation in temperature and precipitation affects our lifestyle also. Okay, now why there is variation in temperature? ये वेरिएशन क्यों होती है टेम्परेचर में? लेट मी एक्सप्लेन. देयर आर सम फैक्टर्स which are responsible for controlling the climate of a place. First important factor is that is latitude. Second important factor is that is altitude. The third most important factor that is pressure and wind. Fourth important factor which affects the climate of a place, that is the distance from the sea. Another important factor is that is ocean currents. And the last factor is that is relief features. These are the six features that affects the climate of a place. Now let me explain these six factors in detail. First of all, latitude. Look at the slide. This is our globe. The lines drawn on a map, they are called latitudes, or we can say these are called parallels of latitudes, because they are running parallel to one another. These are called horizontal lines. These are called latitudes. Okay. One of the most important latitude is that is equator. Equator, 0 degree. Equator is an image. What is equator? Equator is an imaginary line that divides the world into two equal hemispheres. That is the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. It is an imaginary line that passes through the that divides the world into two equal hemispheres. We can say North Pole and South Pole. Okay, due to the curvature of the earth, the sun rays are falling straight at the equator. The sun rays are falling directly at the equator, with the result the conditions in equator remains very hot. Climate conditions remain hot there due to the curvature of the earth. But as we go away from the equator, that is, as we go away from equator towards north and south pole, the sun rays are falling slanting. Sun rays are not able to reach there. That is why north pole and south pole remains frozen throughout the year. There are cold climatic conditions found in north and south pole. Equator, the area which receives highest insolation. What do you mean by insolation? Insolation is the incoming solar radiation. It is received by earth in the form of short waves. Okay, so equator is an imaginary line that divides the world into equal hemispheres. Due to the curvature of the earth, the sun rays are falling straight at the equator. That is why the climatic condition is getting hot there. Climatic conditions are very hot there. But as we move away from the equator towards north and south pole, the conditions remain cold, because it is very difficult for sun rays to reach there. This is the first important factor. So equator, that latitude, it is a latitude of a place affect the climate of an area or a region. Second most is that is called altitude. Altitude means height. As we move higher and higher, temperature goes on decreasing with increasing elevation, with increasing height. जितना हम समंदर की ऊंचाई से ऊपर ऊपर जाएंगे उतना तापमान में गिरावट आएगी, उतना टेम्परेचर में गिरावट आएगी. That is why people prefer to live in mountain areas during summer season, because the climatic conditions in summer season remain favorable at higher altitudes. Third important factor is, that is most important factor, that is pressure and wind system. Pressure and wind system affect the climate of a place. Just let me explain this with an example. There are two conditions. On the left side of the slide there is a normal land, and on the other side of the slide there is an ocean. Okay. Just take example, summer season is in progress. The sun rays are falling straight. Sun rays are falling straight on this normal land. With the result, the air present on this normal land becomes lighter, and the lighter air always rises. So there will be absence of air on this normal land, with the result low pressure develops here. On the other hand, in oceans, the air present in oceans is dense, it is cold, that is why it is dense, and the cold air does not rise. With the result, high pressure develops on the oceans. And you know it very well, the winds will blow from high pressure to low pressure. That is, the wind blow from sea to land. This is also called a sea breeze. It affects the climate of a place. This is the situation of summer season. Now, the situation of winter season. Just take the example. In winter season, on this normal land, the air present here is very cold as compared to the air present on the oceans. ओशन में जो लैंड पे जो एयर है वो इस टाइम जो है ये ठंडा है, और जो ओशंस पे जो एयर है वो इस टाइम जो है थोड़ा गर्म है, उतना भी नहीं, थोड़ा गर्म है. अब जस्ट टेक द एग्जांपल. अब जो ओशंस पे जो एयर है, द एयर on the ocean rises because it becomes lighter and it rises. With the result, low pressure develops on the ocean and the high pressure develops on the land, and the winds will blow from high pressure to low pressure, and this also affects the climate of a place. One thing is to be remembered, that the area which has a high temperature, pressure will be low there, and the area which has a low temperature, pressure will be high there, and vice versa. Okay. So pressure and winds affect the climate of a place. Another most important factor is distance from sea. Those areas which are situated near the sea, which are situated near the coast, experience moderate type of climate due to the influence of the sea. I have already told you in previous slide, there are two coastal plains, that is eastern coastal plains and western coastal plains, or we can say states. They experience moderate climate. Why? Because due to the exposure of the sea. On the other hand, the northern Indian states, especially Delhi, they experience continental type of climate. What do you mean by continental type of climate? Okay. Continental type of climate is also called extreme climate. Extreme climate means very hot during summer season and very cold during winter season. समर सीजन में जब गर्मी होगी तो बहुत ज़्यादा गर्मी होगी, और विंटर सीजन में जब सर्दी होगी तो बहुत ज़्यादा सर्दी होगी. That is called continental type of climate. Why so? Because North Indian states are situated far away from the coastal from the sea. There is absence of sea, ocean in the northern states of India. That is why they experience extreme type of climate, or we can say continental climate. Those areas which are situated near the sea have a moderate type of climate, and this also affects the climate of a place. Another is ocean currents. Remember, these are not power currents. Okay, ocean currents. What are ocean currents? Ocean currents describe the movement of ocean water which flows constantly in a definite pattern. Ocean current, it means movement. It means movement of ocean water which flows in a definite pattern, that is called ocean currents. Okay, this is the world map. Look at here, this is world map. The color represented, the blue color represents here oceans. Okay, on this map you will find some arrows with black color and some arrows with red color. The arrow designated as a black color represents cold ocean currents, and the arrow designated with red color represents warm current. When these cold ocean currents hit the land, they make the land cold, and when these warm ocean currents collide or hit the land, they make the ocean warm. In other words, we can say cold ocean currents make the ocean cold and warm ocean currents make the ocean warm. So how many types of ocean currents are found there? There are two types of ocean currents, that is cold ocean currents and warm ocean currents. Cold ocean currents make the ocean cold and warm ocean currents make the ocean warm, and these affect the climate of a place. Okay. Now last important factor is that is relief feature. Relief feature. Okay. Just look at the slide. There are two settlements. On the left side is one settlement and on the other side is another settlement. Okay, just take the example here. When wind blows from left side of the settlement towards right side, and its target is right settlement with a tree. Okay, when the wind with moisture blows, it gets collided with mountain, the mountain which is situated between these two settlements. Wind with high moisture, remember wind with high moisture, not dry wind, blows with sufficient speed, it gets collided with this mountain, with the result it is forced to ascend here. It is forced to ascend here, and this moisture laden wind makes clouds, and the clouds will fall in the form of a rainfall. Clouds will fall in the form of a rainfall, and this area, place A settlement, receives rainfall, but place B receives rainfall, but the place A with a tree does not receive rainfall. Why? Because these winds were not able to reach there due to the retardation, due to the barrier created by this mountain. And same is the case with our Himalayas. Himalayas, because of their height, they prevent the cold winds. Those winds which came from Central Asia, they act as a barrier and prevent these cold winds from entering into the Indian subcontinent. If Himalaya would not have been there, there would have been too cold climatic conditions in India. But Himalaya acts as a barrier. It retards, it prevents those climatic conditions and prevents us from those conditions. Himalaya prevents the winds, and that is why the winds ascend there and make clouds, then bring plenty of rainfall and snowfall on those areas, especially in Himalayan mountains. And this example is best example so far as the climatic conditions of India are concerned. So my dear students, I hope you got this point very well, you understand it very well. Now let me explain, let me recap it once again. So in today's topic we are discussing about climate and weather. Climate means average conditions of the atmosphere over a long period of time. Weather means average conditions of the atmosphere over a short period of time. Climate is predictable, weather is not predictable. Climate remains static, weather does not remain static. Climate does not change, weather changes day to day and hour to hour. Okay. Then we discuss about the India has which type of climate. India has a monsoon type of climate. Monsoon has been derived from an Arabic word means mosam, which means seasonal reversal of the winds. By these monsoons, India has various types of seasons such as rainy season, hot season, summer season, cold season. Okay, India does not only have a monsoon type of climate, but Southeast Asia has also a monsoon type of climate. This monsoon affects our country, it brings plenty of rainfall, but there is variation. Despite India has a monsoonal type of climate, but there is also variation in this in terms of temperature and precipitation. In winter season, Dras has a minus temperature, but on the other hand, Rajasthan has a temperature of 20 degrees Celsius on the same period. So there are variations in climatic conditions, especially precipitation and temperature. But this variation does not only affect our climate, but it also affects our lifestyle, it affects our houses, etc. Okay. Why this is variation? There are so many factors that are responsible for this variation. There is altitude, there is latitude, there is altitude, there is pressure and wind system, then distance from the sea, then relief features, etc. Okay, so this is all for today. I hope you understand it very well. So in the next topic, I am going to prepare this topic for different seasons in India in detail. So till then, bye and have a nice day ahead. Okay, thank you.